What is going on, Pats Nation? It is your usual suspects back at it here with another post-game stream for the New England Patriots. Falling here, coming out of the bye week. We're here in week 15. Coming out the bye week, we said we have 4 more games. And that's all. What can this team show in those final 4 games to get momentum into 2025? It's okay that we're not winning games this year. That was never the expectation. It was never the expectation like the CJ Stroud, Houston Texans, win a playoff game year 1, compete for the playoffs. That was never it. But we wanted to say it doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. And what can they show in these final 4 games with an extra week of preparation? And what they showed is that they're a lazy team. We said glass half full or glass half empty. Which side are they going to be on? They came in, they said glass half empty. They get killed by I don't want to say killed by the Arizona Cardinals, but like pretty much killed, because I feel like the points that they put up in the fourth quarter, like at that point, we knew it was too late. They had scored 3 points up until the second half of the fourth quarter, but they lose 30-17. It felt like they didn't care. Felt like they didn't care to be there. It felt like they didn't show up. Several missed tackles. Rob, it's week 15. There are no excuses to still be missing tackles the way that these guys were. There were times that James Conner should have been stopped at the line of scrimmage or a gain of about 1-2 yards max. You got Jabril Peppers, Jelani Tavai, Kyle Duggar sitting there, and instead of racing towards him to make the tackle, they said, they literally dropped back and said, let's have him come to us instead of going to him. Let's allow him to pick up the extra few yards. And that's what's so frustrating. Coming out of the bye week, you have an opportunity to end the season on a high note. Yes, you're out of the playoff picture, but that shouldn't matter. Just like in the end of games, I don't care if you're getting blown out 40-0. You play your heart out like it is 0-0 until the game and the clock officially hits 0. The lack of identity of this team still presenting itself. The lack of motivation in this team still presenting itself. As always, guys, today's video brought to you by BetUS. We'll talk to you a little bit later how you can get a limited time exclusive deal from them. But Rob, I feel like it's a loaded question, but how are you feeling?
Terrible, man. I mean, if there's anything we can hang our hat on, is that we're closer to the number 1 pick. But I mean, is that what we all wanted? Is that really what we're hanging our hats on now? Because at the end of the day, this is a double-edged sword. Yeah, on one end, you are closer to getting whoever may be at the first overall pick, and you may be able to trade that selection. But then you go and look at the opposite side of the coin. What does that do for the morale of this team? Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is find out what this team is. And Gerard Mayo said it in the press conference. We are what we put on film. We are what our record says. But my biggest thing is, it's not even just that. Like, I've been saying this, and we kind of talked about it pre-stream. We can probably talk about what we can hang our hat on with AVP with the development of Drake May. What is it that we hang our hat on with maybe Elliott Wolf moving forward that we can trust his decision-making? Because he lucked into Drake May, or Drake May happened to just fall in his lap. What can we hang our hat on with a Gerard Mayo, a DeMarcus Covington? Because as far as I'm concerned, the defense is putrid. There's literally nothing to hang our hat on. And in situational awareness, I mean, yes, the 4th and 1 that I can't remember what quarter was, that one that we got credit on converting. Luckily, we have one of the best running backs in terms of breaking tackles. 37 tackles coming into this game. That he was ranked 14th in the NFL. I know it's middle of the pack, but take in consideration, this is behind the worst offensive line in football.
Antonio Gibson?
No, that is Ramondre Stevenson. The 4th and 1 that he converted. Yeah. You didn't know
I
that,
actually
did you?
think Antonio Gibson's top 5, if I'm correct. Like, Gibson's really good at breaking tackles too.
And that's another thing. Antonio Gibson, we might, like, I had some people tell me, hey, listen, Antonio Gibson, or we may need a running back. People had thrown out the Ashton Genty. And I'm like, no, I don't think I think our running backs are solid.
Fun, but yeah, no.
I know it's a pipe dream, but it's more of like a reach than more than things that we need.
Yeah.
But I'm really confident in our running back room. Because how many times this season, realistically, I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant, but how many times this season have you seen where Gibson rips off something? Like, I'm talking about like some big chunk yards several times. Now, put in perspective, if he was on behind an average offensive line. But I mean, what gives you also confidence that Elliott Wolf will go out and spend the money? because since 2016, we are the lowest, 32nd in cash spending. So we could say all we want about the boogeyman and Belichick not being here, but it's the proof is in the pudding, man. Kraft does not spend the money.
Yeah, when it comes to the whole coaching situation, I've been saying this for a while, but I think it's important to go kind of on a week-to-week basis, because I said how they end this season is going to be important on guys whose jobs maybe are on the line. If you end on a high note, you might get another chance. But if this team looks like dog crap in the final 4 weeks and look like the worst team we've seen all season long, then a recency bias, it's a real thing in the league. And, I don't know if you saw this during the game, but I forget it was that Antonio Gibson play where they tossed it to him. Yeah, and it was like a -16 on the, or not -16, but -6 on the play. And it put them in like second or third and 16. And Robert and Jonathan Kraft are just there looking at each other. And Jonathan Kraft is just like writing on a piece of paper, shaking his head.
You know what? I was going to reference that, but it's just funny how we're on the same wavelength. That is immediately what I thought about. I'm like, because he looked at it and he did the same thing he did last year, where he basically pointed at the product on the field and he's like, that is basic. Not, I don't know if that's what he said, but it looks like he kind of said that is not good enough. And we heard reports about how Jonathan Kraft may be at the forefront and he may or may not. I don't think anybody actually took this in consideration. When Draw Mayo was named the head coach, who was missing at the press conference?
Jonathan Kraft.
Oh, how coincidental.
That's a big one too. I mean, Jonathan Kraft, like the co-owner of the team, like that's kind of random for him to not be there at the
just
the
saying. They said they had some business things they had to take care of. I'm sorry, you're replacing a head coach that had been to be a head coach for what, 24 years, and the day you do it, you're not there. Am I the only one that knew, kind of connecting the dots?
Yeah, a little suspect for sure. I think what happens ultimately with this coaching staff, week 15, I have the ability to change this perspective weekly, depending on how this team plays as the final 3 weeks progress. I don't expect it to be good, but you never know. And so what I'm thinking is, one, when it comes to Gerard Mayo, reports came out earlier in the week. He's already behind the scenes been guaranteed another year. So whether we like it or not, it doesn't matter how it ends. Gerard Mayo's getting another year. It's not a discussion on, is he going to be fired? Should he be fired? Can he be fired? It's not happening. There's no point in even talking about it. Alex Van Pelt, I think he gets another year. I think we've seen him develop and progress as the year has gotten better. I don't think that Alex Van Pelt is ever going to make the Patriots a elite offense, a top 5 offense, the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. But I think that he can make them a good offense, an above average offense, and get them into a point where they can, score 30 points in a game if they really need to. So I think he gets another year also.
I think also when you have, look, man, I don't think it's Alex Van Pelt that will elevate. I don't think the offensive coordinator what elevates a team to become elite. I think they can put them in just about average level. It's what you do at the quarterback level. I mean, you look at the Jared Goff, who is very accurate, and he can elevate some of the players around him. I think Drake May is going to be that guy that kind of surges us past that average level, where I think at least Alex Van Pelt will put us at, to another level. But it just really depends what they do as far as filling out the rest of this roster.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the funny part too is that he has the worst side of the football, right? Like, I understand that injuries, there's been some holes on the defense, but the defense is way better than the product that they're putting out there on the field. There is more than enough talent for that to still be the 10th to 15th best defense in the NFL, and they're playing like dog water. The fact that the offense, with the worst O-line in the NFL, arguably the worst supporting cast in terms of receivers in the NFL, and still Alex Van Pelt is finding ways to progress as the season goes on and get better, I think says a lot. And that's why, to me, the only coach that I think deserves to be on the outside looking in is DeMarcus Covington. And if you look at it, Rob, 30 points today against the Cardinals. They're on a back-to-back losing streak. And they have good players, right? Kyler Murray, good player. Marvin Harrison Jr., good player. Trey McBride, one of the best players in the NFL. James Conner, good running back. Like, they have good players, but 30 points is unacceptable for a team that has kind of had the wheels fall off over the last few weeks. You also had, heading into the bye week, 25 points to Anthony Richardson and the Colts, 34 points to Miami the week prior, 28 points to the Rams the week prior to that. Earlier in the season, 25 points to the Jets, 32 to the Jags, 41 to the Texans, 30 to the San Francisco 49ers, 23 to the Seattle Seahawks in week 2. DeMarcus Covington, and I told you this off stream, DeMarcus Covington is saying, Alex Van Pelt, your offense needs to score at minimum 24 points a game just to be competitive and stay in games. That's not realistic for a rookie quarterback, 2 rookie receivers, the worst offensive line, the worst supporting cast in the NFL, year 1 of a full-time offensive play caller. That's not realistic, especially when, again, the offensive side of the football is significantly less talented than the defensive side of the football. I mean, if you really think about it, DeMarcus Covington was the one coming in as a year 1 coordinator with a much easier job than Alex Van Pelt had. And he's absolutely crapping the bag. And I wonder if there is a scenario where, now that Bill Belichick is back into coaching, he calls up some current Patriots coaches and says, what do you think about playing for me? And I wonder if Jerod Mayo gives a little nudge to DeMarcus Covington and says, hey, dude, I'll be honest with you, you're not going to be here next year, or you're getting promoted. Make it look better. Like make it look better on your resume. Go out and say that you wanted to work with Belichick, rather than having it on your resume that you straight up got fired. So I wonder if that's a possibility. I wonder if there's some other coaches on this defense, or even potentially offensive side of the football, that also go with Belichick. But that's a story for another day. When it comes to Elliott Wolf, I think they're also going to give him another year, because I think he was, to a degree, put in a kind of awkward situation last year, because yes, the draft was rough. Okay, you hit on Drake May, so it was, to me, successful. But Layden Robinson, why we're trying to plug him in constantly, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. I'm not going to put Caden Wallace in there. We don't know yet. Multiple players.
You put Javon Baker in there because they said they're going to play the young guys, but it's like, if you say you're going to play the young guys, why am I not seeing Javon Baker? Kendrick Bourne, the real Kendrick Bourne, please stand up. He's back. He's 100% back, and I once again gonna keep going back to it. I'm gonna keep eating my words on that one. But was I wrong on Kyle Duggar?
That's true.
I wasn't wrong on Kyle Duggar. I said it. I said, don't bring that man back. So I guess I'll go 50-50 on that. But
the other thing too is, like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, he didn't address the O-line. He didn't get wide receivers.
Yeah, but
who was he going
to take? Who was he going to take in free agency for left tackle? Tyron Smith? Tyron Smith wanted to go to a team that was competitive. And if you're really hitching a wagon to a guy that can't stay healthy, then I don't know what to tell you. What do you want? David Bakhtiari? The guy can't stay. That guy played 15 games in the last 3 years. What are we going to go with? DJ Humphries? DJ Humphries is not doing good with the Chiefs either. So, like, what are we hitching a wagon to? I think the biggest thing is this. I wouldn't have drafted Caden Wallace. I would have drafted a left tackle at least. And look, it's not apples to apples. Just because the player that drafted in the drafts and the left tackles who were drafted in this class, just because they're not doing good over there in those present situations, don't mean that they wouldn't have done good over here. But I just don't get it. Like, you drafted Caden Wallace with the idea that he maybe could play left tackle. I'm scared, man, because when I look at this coaching staff, when I look at this front office and the scouting department, there's nobody to blame anymore. You cannot pass the blame on Bill Belichick for your drafting failures.
Yeah, and I don't want to step in and make it sound like, oh, I'm already saying these guys are busts. No. Obviously, they were put in positions to succeed, though, and have opportunities. But sometimes it takes players 2-3 years coming out of the draft to finally get acclimated and actually start performing. So we don't want to say that they're busts yet, but they haven't performed up to expectations so far. The other thing that I will say in terms of free agency for Elliott Wolf is, one, you didn't want him going out and giving bad contracts. If he went out and gave $30 million a year, just get Calvin Ridley here, we would all be saying right now, how did you go out and give Calvin Ridley, an aging, injury-prone wide receiver, $30 million when he's not a true wide receiver one? So I'm okay with him backing out. Not to mention, too, nobody wanted to play here. Okay, the report cards came out. The Patriots have one of the worst yearly report cards. Not this time, but for the 2023 season. So players clearly didn't want to come here for that reason. But not just that, you got Massachusetts. On top of that, you also had a regime that why would players want to go to? You didn't know what to expect from Elliott Wolf. You didn't know what to expect from Gerard Mayo. You didn't know who was starting at quarterback. You didn't know what to expect from the quarterback position. Why did anyone want to come here last year? You have to keep that in mind too.
Man. I hate to say it. I think it was on his stream, and this is probably the best way to do it. And I know it doesn't seem sexy because you want to go O-line, but Travis Hunter was questioning his stream about the possibility of coming here and playing with Drake May, and he said that's tough. Now, look, man, and I know it's crazy, but maybe go get a stopgap and Cam Robinson. And it's not sexy. We don't need an elite left tackle. I think if you get an average left tackle, I know it's not a sexy pick. I can already see it in your head that all the wheels are turning in your head about it. But my thing is this. If you give this kid an average left tackle and just go, look, man, I hate to see it, man. Another day where Drake May has basically an 80% completion percentage because he's doing this routinely now. This kid is just not – he's just very accurate. And then his receiver bobbles it up, and it's an interception. I'm tired of seeing it because the kid should have not had to throw in an interception in the last 2 weeks. He has not even put the ball in harm's way in the last 2 weeks. But somehow, some way, man, it just keeps happening. I just can't. Man, so I'm going to go out on a limb, man. I think realistically, you got to go get Travis Hunter or Tech McMillan. I'm sorry. I know left tackle, you want to redress it, but I would rather get a stopgap guy and a veteran and then go get a developmental guy in the draft.
Perfect transition too. Perfect transition because Isaiah comes in with a $10 donation. Massive shout out to Isaiah for the huge donation. Yeah, that's my guy right there. Says, all I will say after this game is Travis Hunter. Here's what I'll say. Obviously, he just won the Heisman. Usually guys that win the Heisman, that draft stock immediately skyrockets. So here's what I'll say. So let's say that it's draft day. And this is what we're looking at. Like, this is the top 5. I think the Giants should go Cam Ward. I think the Raiders would go Shador. And the Patriots would be in a position.
Shador was throwing to
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors in New York City. I don't think that's happening.
But do you think that what's his face would allow him to go to New York?
I think.
You think his dad would let him go to New York?
I mean, was it Shador Sanders and
Shiloh?
I mean, here's the thing. There was a dinner where he was talking to Antonio Pierce. I think it was some kind of dinner. I don't like my chart.
Where he was like, now I need you to go draft those 2 boys.
Exactly.
Not just that, but you also have Shador, like last week, 2 weeks ago, posted him like at the Raiders stadium for whatever reason. So I wonder if he wants to go to the Raiders so bad that he pulls kind of like Caleb Williams of last year, where there were rumors being like, oh, he's not playing for the Bears and whatnot. And I wonder if the Giants just say, well, we don't want a guy who strictly doesn't want to play for us. So we're going to go with Cam Ward. By the way, I have Cam Ward above Shador Sanders for my overall quarterback rankings right now. Still time for that to change, but I'm just saying, if they want to go quarterback, I think the Giants should go Cam Ward anyway. But if that's the point that they're at, and if both those teams want to go quarterback, then I could see the Patriots getting potentially like Travis Hunter. They'll at least be in the sweepstakes. They have to be in the top 3. They have to be in the top 3 at minimum to be in the sweepstakes for Travis Hunter. If they are out of the top 3, they're not getting him.
He's not dropping past Jacksonville. He will, and Carolina especially will not drop past there. And I think, honestly, this is the best chance you have at getting Travis Hunter. I'm in the consolation. You go get a freak in Tet McMillan, who basically is a Mike Evans clone. I know it doesn't look like the sexy pick also because his separation is not quite where you want it to be. But then on the flip side of the coin, I don't really like Travis Hunter's route running. He really can run slants, go routes, and then maybe some screens, and he'll use his athleticism to take it to the house. But that's what happens when you suck during a draft that's just not a great draft. That's what happens. And in a free agency, that's not a great free agency. So we kind of are sucking at the wrong time.
Well, an NFL executive actually came out recently, and he said that they view him being Travis Hunter, as a cornerback in the NFL who can have packages to play on offense at times. it is not realistic for him to play full-time offense, full-time defense. Anyone who's trying to say that, it's just not realistic. I like Travis Hunter, the player. I like Travis Hunter, the person. But to me, when looking at the state of the New England Patriots, I say, if you were at 3, and even if Travis Hunter is there, you trade down. And I'm not saying you trade down even to go offensive tackle. Here's what I would do. If somehow you can build up the O-line through the draft, let's say they get, who is it? Trey Smith that I think I was talking about earlier from the Chiefs, and you put him in at left guard. You sign him to a multi-year deal. That's your guard. And then you have Cole Strange developing at center. He's your future there. Michael Onwenu over at right guard. And then you hope Caden Wallace can be your right tackle. And then you figure out the left side between free agency and the rest of the draft. Okay. And you want to go wide receiver in the first? I would still trade down. Get Ted McMillan. Get a Luther Burden, right? I'd actually probably prefer Luther Burden over Ted McMillan.
I don't know about that, man.
Well, I would prefer him over Tet if, let's say this. Okay, the Patriots go ham in free agency and get T. Higgins, because I don't want Ted McMillan to get T. Higgins.
Ted is very similar to Higgins in the play style. I see where you're going from.
But exactly. Let's say they go out and they get like a Darius Slayton in free agency and they don't get T. Higgins, but they want to go wide receiver in the first. Okay, well then go Ted McMillan 100%. Like, I'm a big Ted McMillan fan. I just don't like Ted McMillan and T. Higgins together because I just don't think that makes sense. But still, nonetheless, what I'm doing is I'm trading down because, Rob, what has Elliott Wolf said about the draft? The best way to hit in the draft is to have more picks at the draft. And they're at an excellent opportunity where they don't have to stay at 3 or they don't have to stay at 4, wherever they might be. Last year, they had to get their future quarterback. Now they can trade down. They can get a future first. They can get another 2nd and 3rd round pick for this year. And that is high capital to where not only do you have to stay, you don't have to stay pat and draft them, but you can use that 2nd, that 3rd round pick to go ahead and say, hey, your player is in contract year. I can give them a contract. You're held bent against the cap. Here's a 2nd round pick for him. And that's also a way that you can get players to New England, is by trading some of that draft capital you have. So for me, I'm a big fan. Whether they want to go wide receiver or offensive tackle, trade down and then get that guy. Because you don't have to trade down far to get an extra 1st, an extra 2nd, and an extra 3rd. They can trade from 3 and go down to like 10 and still get that package and still get a tackle and still get a wide receiver. So for me, I love Travis Hunter, but I'm a bigger fan on trading down and then getting an OT or wide receiver.
Yeah, but being how kind of this draft is not, I mean, who's a blue chip player of this draft?
There's really not a lot. I don't like this draft class very much.
I think you could make a case for Tet and obviously Travis Hunter. Man, I don't even know if I want to take that chance. I think you have to take the player that's the best player that's there, because you may even miss out on Tet, man. Like, and then you're in trouble, because go looking at this little tankathon thing. You've got Carolina there, you got Jacksonville. I don't see either one of them making past that. Absolutely not. So where are you trading to? Tennessee? I mean, it's just too risky. That's why I'm kind of hoping, hey, listen, man, let's address a lot of the offensive line issues in free agency. In this free agency class, let's call it as I see it. Cam Robinson is the best left tackle in this class. Ronnie Staley, I mean, he is technically the best left tackle that's going to be in this class, but we've already established that he's not going to hit free agency, that you don't have franchise left tackles. They don't grow on trees. But, man, I don't care. Go grab an average left tackle and go get Travis Hunter, because the kid already says he wouldn't mind. He basically said he wouldn't mind playing with him. And I just want people that want to be here.
I mean, obviously, too, to trade down, you need somebody that wants to trade up. So when realistically saying where could they trade down, you have to say, well, who would trade up? And I think there's only 3 players you're trading up for in this instance. You're trading up for Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, or Travis Hunter. So which of these teams would do that? I think the Jets would love to trade up, but only to get a quarterback.
But you're not trading.
And if the Giants and Raiders are already above the Patriots, that doesn't matter. Literally, best case scenario is that the Giants or Raiders fall below the Patriots.
They got to win a game.
So that they have to jump somehow. Teams have to jump them in order to get them, to get their future quarterback.
Yeah, but it couldn't be any more obvious that both the teams that are ahead of us right now are intentionally tanking.
Yeah, and probably going for the
The
quarterbacks too.
Giants got rid of Danny Dimes, and we know he sucks, but like they know they made the situation even more worse to the point where it's going to be even harder to win games, and Las Vegas is just.
Dude, I honestly don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that Travis Hunter goes to the Giants because
Why?
I don't like this quarterback class. I
Oh, I
don't.
don't either. But
And looking about how far away the Giants are, the last thing they want to do is just select a quarterback first overall just to say we selected him. There's no blue chip quarterback in this draft, in my
no,
opinion. There's no
no.
game-changing, elite, solidified number one guy like we've seen in recent years. So I could see a case in where the Giants say, we're just going best player available. They go Travis Hunter. They start building the team around the quarterback, and then they go get a guy in free agency or trade, or they wait till 2026 and then take the quarterback then because they're bound to have another high pick. So I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities either. But it's just for me, Rob, I don't hate Travis Hunter. I like the player. I do. I love the person. Big fan of him. I'm going to follow him closely.
I don't like his frame. He's got very small legs in terms of like the muscle that's there.
It just worries me what he's going to be in the NFL. Because I think ideally he wants to be a wide receiver. That's where the money is, right? But it doesn't matter.
But he's already came out and said recently he will in an interview with Ryan Clark, literally recently, within the last week, he has came out and said, I want to play both sides of the football. I cannot be swayed by it. That is concerning to me. But my rebuttal to that is this. If he does wind up playing wide receiver, we've seen a similar type of build of a wide receiver in a Garrett Wilson, in a Devontae Smith, that they're not really big guys, but they make it at the NFL level. And here's the thing, though, man. If he plays one side of the football, if we can go and tell him, hey, listen, play one side of the football, this kid's going to have an engine that's going to be – I mean, this guy had over 1,000 snaps. I think it was 1,000 snaps in total, or is 1,000 snaps on defense and off. Regardless, it's a lot.
I think it was total.
Okay, so that's insane. So he's going to have an engine that can't be stopped. He's going to be always on the field.
See, I don't think at the NFL level he's going to be able to do that. Because keep in mind too, now you're facing harder competition, but you're also playing significantly more games too, which is something you have to keep in mind. I don't want a guy that is 50-50 on both sides of the football, because then you're not getting a true blue chip game-changing player on both sides of the football that can really contribute for you the way that you consistently need on either offense or on defense. I don't like the idea of that. That's why, to me, I worry about Travis Hunter. And that's why, to me, I'm trading down, because even if the Patriots whiff on this first round pick, they at least traded down, they got extra draft capital, and they have more opportunities to hit on other guys in case that guy does whiff. Like, Travis Hunter does concern me to a degree, because we've seen guys enter the NFL that are dual threat guys that played at multiple positions and wanted to do the same thing in the NFL, and it didn't work out for them, because as soon as you don't look good at one position, the question mark is immediately going to go to, well, let's stop playing him there. Let's play him over there. And it starts to hinder that development. That worries me. I want a guy who's going to stay at one place, at one position, and hone in on one craft, and I know exactly how to use you and develop you, and not have questions on, is he offense, is he defense, 50% here, 60% here, 30% here one week, 90% there the next week. Like, to me, that's concerning, and it just screams like potential bust, because even if he is an above average cornerback or an above average wide receiver, if you're taking him in the top 3, he needs to be more than above average. Above average is a bust. He needs to be a Pro Bowler. He needs to be all pro. And if he's not, that's a bust.
And my biggest concern now is with Jamar Chase's agent now being T. Higgins' agent. T. Higgins may be off the table. So, and for my thinking is there needs to be backup plans to the backup plans. And my backup plan to the backup plan is I call Seattle, I call Philadelphia, and I try to get A.J. Brown or DK Metcalf, because we cannot go into another offseason where this kid is throwing to fucking your mom and pop's Walmart bagger. Like this, we can't do this. You get this kid a wide receiver 1 at any cost, whatever it is. Because me personally, what I would do is I would take this route, because we know DK needs to get paid, right? So what I would do is I would take the 3rd overall pick. I would trade down probably twice. So let's say we go from 3 and we get to around like the 15 to 20 range. I would take that pick and trade that for DK. And we accumulated all these picks, all these prospects that we could possibly get, and we got DK also.
Do you think, like, here's my thing with DK is obviously I would love him. I would trade
Or
for him in a
AJ
heartbeat.
Brown. Like I said, or AJ Brown. Like,
well, that brings up the question, Rob. Do you think that AJ Brown or DK Metcalf realistically could be traded this offseason? Because like me personally, I feel like everybody's talked about DK and it's like this pipe dream, but like I'm wondering and I'm like, where has there been a report? Like, where is like realistically this been talked about other than just fans wanting it for this to be a realistic option? Like, am I missing something?
I don't think you're missing something. I think DK just happens to handle it professionally. I think but one thing about AJ Brown is AJ Brown has already came out post game when they lost to, I forget who they lost to. Not this, they obviously beat today, they won. But last week when they lost, AJ Brown came out and say, "Hey, what's the problem? The passing game." He came out and said it. I mean, that can be scary, but like we already heard that Jalen Hurts reads defenses at a what is it, quote unquote, there was a damn level that they said he reads at defense at. Damn it. But they basically crapped on his ability to read defenses. So hey, listen, man, I get they won this week, but a little bit of turmoil and AJ Brown could be out the door. And he was a Patriots fan, so maybe he comes here and he's happy to be here. And with DK, that's just a pipe dream. I know that that's something that's not feasible, but he has to get paid too. And they need a quarterback there too. I don't think Geno Smith's the answer. So I don't know. It's just a lot of these scenarios that we're coming up with is pipe dreams, but you cannot. I'm sorry. I think you have to start speeding up the clock, man, because we're finding out this kid's the truth. So why not go and try to maximize what he has next year? You have $100+ million. Spend, and go get the talent now. Because who's he been compared to, Colby? Who is he? He's going to play him next week. He's been compared to Josh Allen. Hey, I hate to break it to people. He's way ahead of where Josh Allen was at, and Josh Allen didn't have to deal with this crap. Josh Allen was a 56, 58 completion percentage quarterback. He didn't really become the Josh Allen that we all know, or at least what we thought he was going to be until year 3 when he got Stephon Diggs. Drake May's doing this year 1, and I would like to say that Josh Allen was never this accurate. This kid is a problem. Vanilla Vic. There's a reason why they call him Vanilla Vic, because right now his yards per attempt, I mean, if he didn't have a couple attempts where he was rushing for 3 yards today, he would still be number 1 on pace to break Michael Vick's 9.32 rushing per attempt. He's at number
Drake's
2 right now.
9.08.
Which is incredible. Behind the worst offensive line in football. I don't think Michael Vick had to deal with that, but like the kid's he's a beast, man.
Yeah, it's second. He's second right now behind the 2001 Atlanta Falcons, Michael Vick, who put up, like you said, a 9.32. So he's definitely balling. As it comes to the AJ Brown side of things, though, I think for that to happen, it needs to get 1, more toxic. 2, he needs to stop getting as much production. And 3, they can't win because everybody wants to be in a winning environment. If they go to the Super Bowl, I think that hinders it. You know what stinks, though? I think something that could kill this narrative, because I talked about it last week, too, when everything came out. This week, after all the rumors, after everything that happened, he comes out, 11 targets, 8 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. So after all of this happened, and he's unhappy with his production, what do? They make sure they get him the ball, the opportunities, and he starts to produce. And if they keep doing this, there's no reason for them to trade him.
Unless you go in the playoffs, and then you have an ugly loss. And Edward, I see your comment in the comment section about do we think that Robert Kraft's going to spend? I hate to break it to you, bud. It's in the CBA. He has to spend. Like, we literally have to spend. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got to spend. What is the numbers? I think it's like 60% of our cap. Like, they have to spend over like at least $80 million this offseason. They got to spend.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like you said, it's literally in the rules. Teams have to spend a certain amount every single year, whether they want to or not. Whatever they decide to do with it, if they want to give one player like that certain contract to just meet the threshold, whatever, but they have to meet it. And that's exactly why we saw the Patriots go out and they didn't make a lot of external additions, but we saw them give big contracts to players in house because they had
And
to meet
look,
the threshold.
man, and people, this is why people need to start paying attention more. Don't say that our front office won't spend, because they will spend. They try to get Calvin Ridley, right? Calvin Ridley, if his girlfriend wanted to come here, it would have happened. Didn't we already have a deal lined up for Brandon Ayuk? The trade was already in place. The trade package was already in place for the 49ers. All he had to do was accept. Hey, Colby, can you remind me how much money that was? So don't say they won't spend the money. Yes, I
Yeah.
did highlight earlier in the stream how they haven't spent, but it's because it just hasn't happened yet.
He
But
would have
they
been tied
have.
as the second highest paid wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. They at least try to attempt for it. Now, I don't know, man. Is T. Higgins worth $30 million? I think really you need to figure out what the guarantee number is, because I don't worry about, oh yeah, what is he making the people like was it like I look at the guaranteed dollars, because that's what happens when you go to what counts towards the cap. So you can have a 4-year contract, $120 million, does not matter. How much is his guaranteed number? You can literally front load it, and then his years in the back end are just like $15 million per year.
Yeah, but real quick, want to give a big shout out to my boy Josh with that $5 donation. Says, my deaf family member who replayed it many times and relives every day said that Kraft said that play calling is terrible, in case you were wondering. Ooh, so I mean, I've been a guy that says I think AVP gets another year, but if the Crafts think that he's been terrible, but here's my thing. You know how pissed I would be if AVP left and got fired, but
I
Covington
would,
stayed? Did you know how floored I would be? I'd be
I would,
so pissed.
I would be pissed. But I think this is what they're going to do. If you have to make a case to keep AVP around, this is what you do. Nick Haley's what with the Rams right now? He's a tight ends coach. You bring in Nick Haley because that's really the best op. He's got some new ideas and he's been here before.
I
I
don't know
think
if I
what you do,
trust him.
I get it, man, but it's a fresh concept. We need to do something. I think you go and make him your offensive coordinator, and then I think what you do is kind of what we did with who was it? Was it Josh McDaniels? No, or was it? No, was it? I forget, man. Well, basically, we made him the assistant head coach. So you make AVP the assistant head coach, and you basically overlook something, because we cannot discount what this kid has done, what this guy has done in terms of the development of Drake May. So, I mean, if there's anything, whether it's the play calling or not, one thing we can hang our hat on is the development of this kid can't be overstated.
I also think that they will see this and they'll be very sensitive to not wanting to do what Belichick did. So they're not going to want to do the things that he did that screwed up Mac Jones. What was one of the big things Belichick did? When Mac Jones looked good year one, he got rid of the veteran mentor quarterback, and he changed the offensive coordinator every single year that Mac was here. I think that even if it doesn't look great, even if it just looks average, even if Kraft's not happy, Mayo, Van Pelt, they're going to go and they're going to say, yes, but year 2 is the most important year for development of quarterbacks. Do you really want to switch up the play calling and the scheme and make things harder for him and basically ask him to reset? Probably not the best idea. That's why I think at minimum he gets another year.
I think the only person that should be outside window shopping is DeMarcus Covington. I think there's no excuse as to why this defense has regressed
Agreed.
this much. I think he needs – I will freaking Uber him to Logan Airport right now.
Rob, if he hits you up now, you know you're inclined to do that.
I don't
You're
care.
inclined.
I live in North Carolina right now. I will make the 9-10 hour trip right now. I
You're his
will
Uber?
personally – don't even need to leave me a 5-star rating. I don't care. I'll Uber your ass to the damn airport. Go. Learn Chinese, because you definitely don't deserve being our defensive coordinator. Hell, I would probably promote damn Dante Hightower at this point.
There you go. Well,
no, that's a shot in the dark. Obviously, I would like Dante to learn a little bit more, but
probably get a little bit more like developed coach instead of going younger.
I can't see this guy being on the coaching staff again. And here's another thing: Tyler Hughes, goodbye. Him too. He can go too.
Yeah, I don't know the last time we had a good wide receiver coach. It's a little discouraging. But want to get your thoughts here about Drake May in this game a little bit more. We kind of alluded to it a bit, but 19 for 23, 202 yards, 10.6 yards on average, a touchdown, an interception, sacked 2 times, overall rating of 99.6. Also put up 4 attempts on the ground, 14 rushing yards, 3.5 yards on average, and a rushing touchdown on that 4th and 1 that they had that ultimately they didn't get. Cardinals took over. That's when Kyler Murray should have been sacked for a safety, then throws the interception, then it gets called back because of roughing the passer on Anthony Jennings. But controversial call. They go run up the gut, run up the gut, run up the gut, run up the gut. They were very predictable on 4th and 1, and everybody kind of asking themselves the question, you had to get back into the game there. You're knocking on the door. You're 3 yards away from a touchdown. Why did you not go quarterback designed run with Drake May on 4th and 1? And he even saying it himself, like he's a big quarterback, like he's comfortable doing these things, but they're just not calling it.
I was a good quarterback sneaker in college. I'm literally reading. I'm a big dude. And then you know what Gerard Mayo's answer was? You said it. I didn't. Basically saying, hey, listen, I didn't call it. Look, man, I know you guys want to bubble wrap him, but like that was a situation where you QB sneak it, and I think that you get that first down. I'm sorry, the kid's a big dude; he would have got it. But I also the flip side of the coin, I can see why they didn't do it. I just would have liked to do something other than what the hell a play call that we did.
So overall, what did you think about Drake's performance?
Man, look, he went out versus another good defense. This is let me see, where's my numbers for this? This is they were 6th in stunt rate and 1st in pressure. So this is a defense that they're very, very aggressive defense. And being that you have the offensive line that you have, and he had to basically throw the football immediately, constantly, and the fact that he was 10 for 10 in the first half, and then realistically, I mean, Keyshawn Butte catches that football like he's supposed to have. What is he, incomplete 3 passes? And this has happened several games where the guy has maybe less than 5 incompletions. I think he played pretty damn good. Look, man, he's throwing to 2 6th-round draft picks, man. That's supposedly his best receivers, right? And like I said, Kendrick Bourne finally showed up, but Kendrick Bourne on any other roster is what? A wide receiver 3, 4?
This is what he's wide receiver 3.
Brother, this is what he's having to work with. This is what Elliott Wolf has said. Hey, listen, I'm confident in what we have to work with here. You're confident in this crap. You're confident in this. Hell, if my biggest thing is this, if Brandon Ayuk wouldn't take that $32 million per year, you pay him what Justin Jefferson would have made. Get him in the damn building at any cost. Because at the end of the day, man, we had a chance to get another guy in Brandon Ayuk, and if the trade would have went through, we would have got him. But I get this kid some freaking talent because he's able to do this crap with nothing. He's running for his damn life because the left tackle, there was literally back-to-back in the first quarter, the second drive, back-to-back damn plays is as if Vidarian Lowe is doing his best mime impression. That goes right by him like, oh, I'm supposed to block him? Yes, you're supposed to block him. Do your job. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And God forbid, man, God forbid on that same drive, Douglas, who fumbled it, Kendrick Bourne with the wherewithal that
crazy
oh
play.
My God. Like, bro, this team just finds new ways to fucking just suck. And it, God, I can't even, what this kid is doing with nothing is just incredible.
Yeah, we say it game in, game out. I don't know how many times the Patrick Mahomes.
I'm tired of saying it.
I mean, I'm always gonna gas my boy up, but it sucks that he's performing this well and it's just not translating into wins, which is why not enough people are talking about him. But that play he had where he bounced it to the outside, he was going to pass, but pressure got into his face, and then he's about to get hit by 2 defenders, wants to run it in, but realizes he can't, and some Patrick Mahomes-esque type play and just dumps it off to, who was it, Pop Douglas for the touchdown?
Yeah, Pop Douglas.
Beautiful play. Beautiful play. I mean, even that play that got them into the red zone, just the bomb down the sideline to Kendrick Bourne, who had 1 or 2 steps on the defender, and KB brings it in with one hand. Like, there are very few playmakers on this offense, but the guys that are showing up. Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson especially, Kendrick Bourne, Drake May. To me, these are your playmakers. And then, of course, it's like any given week with Hunter Henry or name's escaping me right now. Austin Hooper, yeah.
But man, like, you can't have many. Look, we may need a kicker. We may need a damn kicker because Sly is missing shit too. How many games do you think you're realistically going to win where you miss a field goal to start the game? I already referenced the second drive. I'm not going to beat that like a dead horse. The next drive, 3rd and 8, our damn center fumbles or muffs the damn thing off his own ass. And then the next drive, we go, Mondre gets a 5-yard run. Mondre gets a 7-yard run. May gets a 6-yard run. Mondre converts to 4th and 1. That is the play I referenced earlier in the stream where basically he was tackled in the backfield and he stiff arms the guy and creates something. And then Marcus Jones gets an 18-yard reception run. And then what we get out of that drive? A field goal. A 50-yard, not even just a field goal, a 50-yard field goal. So not even one that's like on their side of the field. I'm trying to do the addition. 12 yards, 18 yards. That is like that's 20. And then you got what? And so it's about 38 yards that drive or whatever those plays were because those are the ones I highlighted. And you still are on the 50. What? You can't win games like that. And your quarterback in the first half is 10 for 10. This is disgusting, bro. The games are unwatchable.
I don't know, man. If we want to solve that kicker problem, there's a guy that I really, really like. He's on the Arizona Cardinals. You might have seen him today. Chad Ryland.
Oh, by the way,
second-year kicker who's
he's been putrid on the year. He's been putrid on the year. He just happened to have a revenge game against us. And I was kind of hoping. I was like, wait a second. Mike Pilardi, also former Patriot, came off, I believe it was a practice squad. He was actually the place kicker for today. I guess they both had their revenge game because Mike Pilardi I thought, okay, you insert a new punter / place kicker. He's going to set up the damn field goal for Chad Ryland, and it's going to go shank right, shank left, shank left. Nope. They both were on their fuck you tour to us.
We got D coming in here with a $2 donation. Says a good OC knows how to scheme players open. AVP doesn't.
Oh, stop it.
To a degree, yes.
Bro.
I would say consistently he doesn't do it enough, but I wouldn't say he never does it or he can't do it. A lot of times it comes down to player execution, right? The guys catch the ball. Oh, bob's in the air and it's a fumble because it's a lack of ball security. Or Vidarian Lowe has a penalty on the left side. Now the play is getting brought back. Like, I think a lot of times plays aren't working because of what the guys are doing on the field and not always because of Alex Van Pelt. Now, there's times I don't like what Alex Van Pelt does. Again, I alluded to this earlier. 4th and 1, run up the gut, run up the gut, run up the gut. Play calls like that, you can't have. But I thought there were also some really good play calls, especially in recent weeks and even in the game today, where sometimes it just comes down to you need your team to play as a unit. You need your team to play cohesively. You cannot ask one player to be the guy that drives down the field, gets you into the end zone, and keeps you in games. It takes a team. It takes a unit. And if even one guy on that unit messes up, it's going to put you back. And we only have about 3-4 guys on offense who are consistently being the positive playmakers for this team. So, you got any thoughts on that, Rob?
I mean, when you have to have Marcus Jones play on offense, no offense to Marcus Jones, he's a dynamic playmaker, the best kick returner in football as far as I'm concerned. If you have to play a defensive player on offense, that's concerning. That shows you a lot about what you're missing on offense. But my rebuttal is to people that are saying what AVP would look, man. We have been very critical in the earlier weeks. We were very critical of him. I think he's improved exponentially to the point where he deserves to have at least another year, as opposed to the other two idiots. But in terms of that, man, look, what does he have to work with? You have the worst offensive line in football. You realistically have what? Your 2 best receivers are 6th-round draft picks. Like, what do you expect him to do? Or you want him to scheme something open with a 6th-round draft pick? Do you see how unreasonable that sounds, right? And for me, it's not so much the play calling. It's situations where your left tackle can't block a common cold. It's situations where your wide receiver that I'm referencing, the 6th-round draft pick, is bobbling the ball up in the air into an interception. These are situations where if you have even a semblance of an average receiver, that is a first down. That is a drive extender. If your left tackle can block something other than, I mean, like if you do that Spider-Man meme and you close your eyes very slightly, you might see Marshall Newhouse on the left side, because that's what I see. I see a turnstile. It's as if I'm at Logan Airport and I'm trying to check in to put my baggage in to get it x-rayed. That's what we have. But he's doing, you ever seen that one meme where the guy, where he's like checking people into the stadium and he's doing like this with like 2 fingers and he's doing this, but he's not even touching them and he's like letting them go in? That's Vidarian Lowe. That is fucking Vidarian Lowe. How he has a job, I'm beside myself. I don't get it.
For me,
I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent.
No, dude, I love that. That was heat. You're just saying what we're all thinking. But dude, what I don't understand with Alex Van Pelt is, why is Kayshon Boutte still being utilized as the number 1 wide receiver, the number 1 X receiver, who is getting the most targets game in and game out? Why is Kendrick Bourne not that guy? Because at least once a game, we see Drake May wanting to go deep for Kayshon Boutte. When is the last time that we saw Kayshon Boutte and Drake May hit on a play 20+ yards down the field? We just don't see it. It doesn't happen. But Drake May takes those shots every single week. Boutte can't come up with it. And I like Boutte. But the thing that I said about Boutte that people got really upset about this offseason was, I don't know if I have him making my final 53-man roster, because he's so inconsistent. One day he puts up 4 touchdowns in camp. The next 2 days he's quiet. And that's exactly what we're seeing on the field right now, is that Boutte can make plays and Boutte can show up. But then the next week, he's absent. The next week, he's getting targeted 5 times with 2 receptions, which is what happened today. Targeted 5 times, 2 receptions, 19 yards. That is not good enough. When you're the most targeted player, you need to be more reliable, especially when you're the X receiver and you're the guy that's being expected to come up with plays deep down the field. I think right now, if that's how we're going to run the offense, through the number 1 X receiver, that's a guy that I would love to see Kendrick Bourne take over, or at least give Javon Baker an opportunity, because right now I just don't think that is the role for Kayshon Boutte. Boutte's also the reason that Drake May had that interception. Drake May hits him, he like has the ball in his fingers, and instead of securing the football, he like brings it up. The ball flies into the air because he never secured it off his fingertips, and then it flies into the air and it's intercepted. It's these inconsistencies with Kayshon Boutte that I wonder, why are we consistently game in and game out making him the most utilized wide receiver? He's getting the most snap counts out of all wide receivers every single week, and I don't understand it. That's my biggest gripe with Van Pelt right now.
And the thing is, though, Boutte does have potential. I mean, I've been saying this for the longest time. The problem is, like you said, consistency. I have said he has a lot of potential. But if you're not showing up consistently, if you're dropping footballs, if you're going to the sideline, remember that one week where he went to the sideline and he's like, I don't know why I have to demand for the football. Well, situations like this, Boutte, is why you shouldn't have to demand for the football. Catch the fucking football. And I've been one of Boutte's biggest supporters, but Kendrick Bourne at this point is our best receiver.
I'm sorry, it's not even a debate.
He's back to being Mr. Money.
Yeah, it's not even a debate. But before we continue on today's video, guys, want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this video over at BetUS. Right now, when you guys sign up and use the promo code you see on the screen, YouTube150, super quick to sign up, less than 60 seconds. And again, you use the code YouTube150, you'll lock yourselves into a limited time exclusive offer of a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, followed by 125 on your next 2, all the way up to $2,000. That is a deal on your first 3 deposits. Guys, I get it. Patriots, they suck at football. They're unpredictable. You probably don't want to bet on them, and that's okay, because with BetUS, you don't just have to use this sign-up bonus on NFL games, but you can use them on NFL futures like the draft, NFL awards coming up, on the NBA, on baseball, hockey, college football, horse racing, fighting, politics, entertainment. BetUS has the best betting variety in the business, and you can use this sign-up bonus with all of the options that they have. Right now, they can also give you a 200% crypto deposit bonus, 10% back on your net losses 2 times a year, and give you your very own personalized account manager. One of my favorite things about BetUS is they also have live wagering on all major games. But guys, please play smart, play responsible, never bet more than you can afford to lose, but have a little bit of extra fun this football season. Big shout out to BetUS. But Rob, I want to go back to you. And I want to get your thoughts here, kind of on the defensive side of things. We talked about, obviously, the coordinator with DeMarcus Covington, our thoughts on him. Where do they go with him this offseason? But what do you think about the players and how they performed in this game alone?
We're talking about defense?
Yeah.
I mean, go look at the cornerback. And that'd be Christian Gonzalez. I mean, he's
the only good thing we saw today.
Not just today. Go look on the season.
The
In 14 games he's played, he has 66 targets, 25 completions, 37.87 completion rate, 343 yards, 24.50 yards per game, 5.19 yards per target, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, 1 defensive touchdown, and a 52.78 passer rating.
How many yards did he let up today? How many yards did Marvin Harrison Jr. have today?
I think that one catch was like 30 yards in the beginning, but after that, I don't think.
Marvin Harrison Jr. had 32 total yards today.
Okay, that might have been that one catch, dude. And then after that,
he allowed like 2.
I mean, realistically, if Christian Gonzalez doesn't play today, Marvin Harrison Jr. has like 3 touchdowns because he broke up like 3 touchdowns in the end zone.
Yeah, I thought he started off a little bit slow, and I was like, "Oh God, like please tell me."
I think he was behind the play in terms of like when Marvin Harrison Jr. caught the. Don't quote me on that, but I think he was behind the play on that one. But he couldn't have played a better game. He didn't put it in the position where they could throw the flag. He kind of, like one of the damn plays, he went up like this, and he basically kind of did one of these where he's like, "I'm not touching him." But he broke it up. And then there was oh my God, a spectacular play where he had his arm in the damn, and that was a touchdown, and he went, psych, nope, not today. And he did that several times throughout the game. He put him in a box. So that one catch, I guess, where Marvin Harrison Jr., and that was at it. That was about it.
Yeah, he's a top 10 targeted cornerback in the NFL, and for the life of me, I can't understand how stupid opposing quarterbacks have to be to start throwing to Christian Gonzalez. Best cornerback in the AFC East. He's a top 10 cornerback in the National Football League already. Heading into this game, he was averaging about 33 yards allowed per game. He allowed 2 touchdowns on the year. Kyler Murray went to Marvin Harrison Jr. twice in the end zone, both broken up beautifully by Christian Gonzalez. Like, when are quarterbacks going to learn? Stop targeting this guy. I don't understand it. It's mind-boggling.
No, keep doing it because the kid, he's a stud, man. And I'm happy. You kind of have your pillars. You have your cornerback 1. You got your quarterback 1. Now you just need a wide receiver 1 and some semblance of a damn pass rush because Christ's sake, we can't get to the quarterback. I like to say it'd be Keon White, but he's a nice piece. He doesn't get quite to the quarterback like I would like.
You know what I think about Keon White?
What would that be? Chandler Jones? No, he's not even Chandler Jones, though.
I think that he's not an edge rusher.
What do you think?
I think so even when he was drafted, I actually said Keon White to me is not a Matthew Judon replacement. Everyone was like, "Oh, like Matthew Judon's gone. This is the guy." And I was like, I don't think so. I think, if anything, this is a Dietrich Wise replacement. This is a guy that plays edge. He plays in the middle. This is someone you want to find the mismatches for, but he is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the entire National Football League when it comes to pressure in the middle. I think he's either right behind or right in front of like Cam Hayward with the Steelers. So this guy is an absolute beast when he rushes in the middle. When he got that sack today, which I believe it was called back because of like a penalty on Anthony Jennings or somebody. There was a penalty on somebody, and it got called back. He was rushing from the interior when he got that sack. So to me, I would like to see him in the interior of the D-line more moving forward because that's where he plays his best, and we need more pressure in the middle. And then in the offseason, you can move on from somebody like Daniel Ekuale. You probably are going to move on from somebody like Dietrich Wise, who is like 30, 31. I want to see him back, but his plays dipped. He's older. I think he's probably someone who's gone. And then in the offseason, now you need 2 new edge rushers. To me, that is how you get the best out of Keon White.
The problem is the defensive edge rusher market's also pretty barren. Like I'm telling you, man, I've looked around. It's not good. we're kind of in a situation that like we have the money, but the talent is just not really there. And in the draft, there ain't the talent. I mean, who are you going to go draft? Abdul Carter? He's not making it out of the first round. And I even with him, people would like to compare him to Micah Parsons. I don't see it. The only comparison he has with Micah Parsons is he wears the same damn number. I don't know. Maybe hopefully like a Micah Parsons make it to free agency, but I don't see that happening either because Jerry Jones already came out and said that he basically will move hell and high water to pay him.
I really like this edge class though. So like I think that there is a guy that you can go out and get in free agency and be a veteran presence. And then you take a edge rusher in the second round, and then you take one in the mid to later rounds too, and you kind of just double up there. That's what I would do. But Keon White even led the Patriots in tackles today. 12 total tackles for a defensive lineman. Absolutely insane. Even going back to some of the questionable things about DeMarcus Covington, Trey McBride, you know who he was covered by in certain times during this game? Anthony Jennings. Why do we have a run-stopping edge rusher covering one of the best tight ends in the league currently? That's some of the questions that I have. But to me, we knew that going into this game, you had to do two things. One, you had to stop the run game because one of the biggest problems for the Patriots has been stopping the run this season, as surprising as that is. They go from the second best team at doing so in the NFL last year to now being one of the worst. And when they allow opposing running backs to go for 100 plus yards and average at least 4 yards a carry, they end up losing games. Obviously, understandable, because if you're able to run the ball effectively and efficiently, you stay on the field, you dominate time of possession, you keep the ball out of Drake May's hands. You don't allow them to get many opportunities to go down and score points. You're methodical about the way that you put up points. James Conner cooked the Patriots in this game. 16 attempts, 110 yards, 6.9 yards on average, 2 touchdowns, long run of 53 yards. Trey Benson, the backup running back, 5 attempts, 22 total yards, 4.4 yards on average. The Patriots are back to the days where they're allowing running backs to absolutely own them. Over the last couple of weeks, they were pretty good. They were stepping in the right direction. But it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Progress isn't linear, but at some point, they need to stop going back to these games randomly where they're allowing running backs to absolutely own them. Now, the second thing that we know they had to do was stop Trey McBride, a top 5 tight end in the National Football League right now. Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, they weren't able to do it. I thought Kyle Duggar had some really good hits on Trey McBride today, but overall, they weren't able to stop him. Trey McBride, the most targeted player for the Cardinals today, also had the most receptions. 10 targets, 9 receptions, 87 total yards, led them in receiving yards and 9.7 yards on average. Other than him, you had Dorsch, the wide receiver, because of like broken coverage on one play. He was their second receiver for 60 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., 6 targets, 2 receptions, 32 yards. All you had to do was stop Trey McBride through the air and limit what James Conner could do on the ground. And if you were able to do that, you felt pretty good about your ability to stop Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals offense. But because of those 2 things, and those 2 things alone, because of how big they were, because you weren't able to do them, they went down, they owned you, and they scored 30 points on you. It's the same thing all year long, Rob. It's the inability to stop the tight ends, Kyle Duggar's inconsistencies, and our inability game in and game out to stop opposing running backs.
It's not even just that. He doesn't adjust. We see in it. What was it, against the Rams? You had Christian Gonzalez on Tutu Atwell or whoever else he was on, and then you see him get burned for a touchdown. At one point in time, I think it was during the game, I seen Marcus Jones lined up on Marvin Harrison Jr. I was like, if Kyler Murray can pull his head out of his ass and see that Marcus Jones is lined up on MHA, we're gonna have a problem. But this is the lowest penalized team in the NFL. That means they play pretty damn clean. And when they average 5 yards a carry, and I'm not talking about this game, I'm talking about on the season. They're one of the best in terms of yards per carry on rushing. You're already kind of behind the 8 ball, and being that you don't adapt to in-game situations, they kind of adapt, and when they adapt, it's like, okay, it's already the end of the game. You're already behind by a lot of points. You're adapting way too late. You need to be able to adapt play by play, or at least at the very least the next drive. But we don't. It's like Covington sees how we run one, and we keep to it the whole drive. And you can't do that, man. You got to adjust as they go, and he just never does. He looks overwhelmed, and just based off what I see, Kyle Duggar has regressed so much. Also, yeah, Mayo doesn't adjust either. But we did seem a lot more disciplined today. I didn't see too many penalties today, so that would be a step in the right direction. But still, there's still penalties nonetheless. And like I said, man, you cannot. This is the lowest penalized team in the whole entire NFL. You cannot make mistakes because we got good Cardinals today. And it could have been a lot worse if you didn't have a Christian Gonzalez out there. Because, man, if we had Christian Gonzalez out like last year and MHA was being guarded by Marcus Jones, we would have had a rough day. I'm talking 40, 50 points.
Yeah, 4 penalties by the Patriots today, a step in the right direction.
Exactly, but it's still...
Obviously, it killed them when it mattered the most, but they didn't lose that battle. Every week, the Patriots lose the penalty battle. The Cardinals also had 4. So the Patriots didn't win it either, but they didn't lose. It's a step in the right direction. But the penalties didn't matter because they were put in the same position, right? Penalties hurt the offense. I mean, obviously, they get penalties on defense now and then, but for the most part, the penalties have been coming from offense, but it puts them in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, in positions that they are not able to succeed. So although they only got 4 penalties overall, how many times did we see plays stopped behind the line of scrimmage? Drake May sacked 2 times in this game. How many times did we see Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson stop significantly behind the line of scrimmage? So although they weren't penalties, we were still put several times in this game in positions that we could not convert, with 2nd and long and 3rd and long because of play stop behind the line. It's the inconsistencies, like we talked about, up front from the offensive line. So a step in the right direction for sure, but this Arizona Cardinals team, back-to-back-to-back losses, they have fallen off as the season progressed. They're a below 500 team. They're out of the playoff picture. It is a scary thought on what this team could look like against the Buffalo Bills next week, who just owned and put up 40 points on the Detroit Lions, who I think is the best team in football.
Man, it's realistically to say that they could put up 70 against us. That's crazy to think, but I mean, who's stopping Josh Allen? He's the MVP of the league right now. That's a bad boy, and he's on a mission this year. That possibly could win the Super Bowl. This Bills team is dangerous, and I just don't think we could score enough points. If they did that, I get it. I get the Detroit Lions have lost. They got like 12 players on IR, but we're not scoring 40. That's just not happening. It's not happening. And you got to stop Josh Allen in his legs. I mean, if you had Kyler Murray scrambling all over you, I mean, I get he didn't turn it into anything really much, but that's not... Kyler Murray isn't Josh Allen. So it's gonna be a rough week next week.
Well, here's the thing, too. The Cardinals' pass defense, they were 19th in the NFL heading into this game. Their rush defense was 18th in the NFL heading into this game. So while it wasn't the easiest defense to go up against, they're just below middle of the pack. So there were ways you should have found success. The Bills' defense, it's not great. It's not top echelon in the NFL, but they're better than the Cardinals. So if you were only able to put up 3 points through 3.5 quarters, again, it goes back to the concerns on what you're going to be able to do next week. And that's an away game too. Let's keep that in mind.
The thing is, though, you don't need the Buffalo Bills defense to be more than average because the Patriots offense, especially the offensive line, can't block a common cold. So, I mean, and then you look at the defense for the Patriots, how are they going to stop a player like Josh Allen who just outwardly hates I get it, he grew up a Patriots fan, but he may not be in that same frame of mindset anymore because he seemingly hates us in the last like however many years he's been playing for the Buffalo Bills.
He cooks us like every time. But I think it's the head coach that hates us more, actually.
I don't know how you stop him. I think it's going to be you can't. Maybe it might be one of those games. Remember how they didn't punt? It might be another one of them. And I'm talking about like this. So Greg Bedard came out and said that there was a possibility that Kraft can reconsider. I don't see it happening because I don't think Kraft can swallow his pride enough to fire a head coach and draw Mayo. And we might have a situation where they play against us, and in both games they don't punt once. And then
Which
you
is
get
funny too. That's a funny report coming from him when like we literally heard yesterday that he's been guaranteed another year.
Oh yeah, behind the scenes, look, we all know that they have to peddle their stories, but like I seen someone put in the comments, Allen 600 yards, 7 touchdowns, 101 points. Hey, listen, man, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. This Patriots defense can't. If you're having trouble with Kyler Murray, what do you think Josh Allen's going to do?
Wouldn't it be the most Patriots thing to lose to the Cardinals, lose to the Colts, beat the Bills? Wouldn't that just be the most Patriots thing?
I mean, we did it last year with Mac Jones, but I wouldn't hold. I think this Josh Allen is on a mission. And that last year's Josh Allen, if I'm not mistaken, had an MCL injury that he was playing through. So I don't. This is a bad boy, and he's starting to use his legs a little bit more intelligently, and he's not really quite throwing interceptions anymore, which is scary because that was a part of his game that kept you in games with him.
By the way, just so it's clear, I'm not saying I think we're going to beat the Bills or have a chance.
No.
I'm just saying, like, wouldn't that just be the most Patriots thing to happen?
Hey, look, if I will say this, if there is a chance, it's just because Drake May made it a chance. But other than that, I really don't think we have a shot in hell.
No,
I hate to be that guy. I hate to be that guy.
It's a bye week. It's a bye week for the Bills, dude. I literally said this on my stream. I was like, do I have to show up next week? Like, can I call out sick?
I mean, we realistically have one more winnable game, and that's only because Justin Herbert, we've played well against him forever. Here's the thing.
I don't know. Harbaugh's balling, bro.
I was going to say, we don't have Bill Belichick anymore, and you got Jim Harbaugh, which basically anything he touches
made that team a playoff team, Rob. That's crazy.
I know it's crazy when you have a quarterback that's a top 10 quarterback. I think Brandon Staley is what's held back that Chargers team. He's a freaking idiot.
It's just how they're finding success despite all the players that they got rid of this offseason. We thought the Chargers were going to be a bottom 5 team.
Jim Harbaugh is a mastermind, man. Anywhere he goes turns to gold. And I just think that, like, realistically, I like I said, realistically, we could win against the Chargers. No, not realistically. The best chance of us winning is against the Chargers with 3 games remaining. But I don't see us winning a single game. And you just got to kind of hope. You got to kind of hope one of the Giants or the Raiders win a game unintentionally, and then we hop them. Because then you get in a situation where they're like, okay, only way I'm going to get that quarterback is I'm going to have to be – because you got to think from the frame or mindset that, like, okay, the Raiders will be like, oh, I might miss out because the team might trade up to get to the second pick that we will probably be at. That's what you're kind of hoping for, because it's not like we need to pray that we're going to lose. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I'm not going to just go be optimistic blindly. We don't have a shot in hell to win any games to end the season. I would love to be wrong. But then again, it's like, this is kind of double-edged sword. If we win, we go down in draft stock. If we lose, I mean, you're closer to number 1 than you were to number 3.
And Brooke comes in and says, Colby, are you suiting up next week? So
you can play left tackle.
Dude, you got to go back. On my stream, I started crashing out, dude. I was so annoyed that I threw on my pads and threw on my helmet, and I was like giving football lessons, dude. I was so annoyed. Joe comes in and says, Colby, I see you're on the week 16 injury with a leg questionable. Yeah, dude, I tweaked it during the bye week in Miami. I was doing the stanky leg too hard at the roundtable meet and greet, and yeah, well, we're not sure if I'll be able to play next week, but, you know, I'm going to try to push throrough.
Hey, on a positive note, I mean, look at some of the things my dad got me for Christmas. If we're going to go and talk about anything positive, that was pretty fucking badass. We got to find something positive in this one right here, but like something positive to like add to like the collection and stuff. I mean, we're kind of like
Colby. Do you think we can beat a high school football team right now? I think Drake May could kill a high school football team. I personally think we would still lose because we would allow them to I think we would still allow them to score more points defensively. So they would just need to get one interception on Drake May or one fumble just to win.
Where one of our receivers bobbles it up in the air.
So no, but hey, y'all, look, this is where we're going to bring in the Patreon segment. If you're a Patreon member, you want to come on, you want to voice your thoughts, opinions. I know it's literally the same thing every single week, but if you got something new you want to rant about, this is your opportunity to do so. You want to be a Patreon member?
Keep
Come
it
on live on the
Patriots,
show with
please.
me and Rob.
Keep it Patriots, please.
Keep it Patriots for sure.
Don't go on a Celtics rant. This is Patriots.
Make sure you guys join the Patreon, link in the description box below. But we got our boy, a weekly occurrence, our boy DTN, to come on here and rant about how he feels about the Patriots. Let's hear about it. DTN!
Hello, gang. As much as I want to give a rant, I'm gonna try to keep it at a low voice, because currently I'm studying for my finals, which is why I've been stressing out all week. But once I get the finals all of the way, get back in the grind with watching some football. But
got the mic.
This is
official today.
Let's go.
I gotta say, what I'm doing is like trying to study and get some work done. The Patriots, they failed to do so. It's like they're getting Fs and Fs and Fs every single week. Like, I could rate every single loss. Like, for example, the Rams, I would give it a D. A Dolphins, a D minus. Colts, a C minus. Against the Cardinals, we got an F. What the defense did, I just did not like seeing. Like
an F.
An F.
I think that might be a little bit.
Well, because in the first half, we just allowed James Conner to rain on our parade, and then obviously the defense, Anthony Jennings, we should have had that fumble and recover, except right tackle bang goal. Jonah Williams got a touchdown. Funny enough, we should have got him for free agency. Unfortunately, he decided to go for another team because the Cardinals are much of a better location than the New England Patriots. So that kind of makes sense. And I'm scared about like what next year's free agency is gonna look like. Hell, I'm gonna even say the same thing that I said 2 weeks ago against the Colts. Fire DC. Like, I'm from Boston. I can get an Uber, ship him off to Logan Airport, and send him somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Send him to like send him to San Quentin, to like one of those prisons, because he deserves to be in San Quentin. I don't even care about DC. Like, I'm not going to be even surprised next week when we play against Buffalo and then have James Cook, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, hell, even Josh Allen on his legs scoring points, similar to what the Dolphins did to the Broncos last year. I don't even care anymore. And I already have my trending up 3, trending down 10.
Hey, he already knew the segment. Let's go. Give me your 3 up.
Kendrick, well, obviously you got to go with Kendrick Bourne. He made that one ridiculous play with the catch. And then before that, when
leading receiver today, by the way.
And then when Pop fumbled, he made that one ridiculous play. Unfortunately, it didn't convert to like a 4th down, but I thought that play by Kendrick Bourne, I thought it was insane. My second, I want to say my man Christian Gonzalez, because he prevented the 4th overall pick, MHJ, from getting these touchdowns that could potentially be touchdowns. And then last but not least, I want to say the tight end duo maybe making some plays, even though they didn't get like any maybe like one of the running backs, like maybe Gibson, with like some of the runs, because I thought they were like impressive when there were moments where we should continue throughout the drive and not make any
like I said, man, if it's not that Kendrick Bourne catch, it's probably that 4th and 1 that Ramondre Stevenson converted as the play of the game. Like, my God, I don't know how. Finally, Mayo had the what to do it, but me personally, I think we were on our own 35. I wouldn't have done that. So he pulled a page out of Dan Campbell's book. I'm sorry for cutting you off, DTM, but that one.
Speaking of that, this is the one I have to say for Mayo. You should have used Kendrick Bourne when we played that game against the Bears, but it doesn't even matter because we got that win against the Bears. But for trending down. And I see you, Ashton, in the chat saying send them to the Middle East. I'm gonna send all these people who are in my trending down, not even to the Middle East, but to like Russia, to Siberia. I don't even care where else to go. Like, for example, let's put Vidarian Lowe in the Middle East. Like, once again, what do I say? Besides that impressive touch that he got against the Rams, Vidarian Lowe consistently fails to block and then allow Drake May to get these unnecessary sacks. My second, I gotta say Anthony Jennings. As much as I thought the fumble was good, that horse collar, I thought it was unacceptable.
That was Dietrich
That
Wise.
was Dietrich Wise.
Yeah.
That was Dietrich Wise? Oh, I thought
it was. It was a new.
No. The roughing the
new
I think it was the
In the
roughing the.
passer.
I think
that
it was
was-
Okay, so first of all, let me say something about that. What's his name? What is the name of the damn retired referee that was basically? I got his name somewhere. He basically came out and said that he wouldn't have called that a roughing the passer because of the fact that it was just I think it was like a bang bang play. I forget what the name. Gene Steratore even said it wasn't. So I wouldn't. I don't know if you give. I mean that was like.
I wouldn't give that, but I would say DeMarcus. I would put DeMarcus Covington as my trending down because what have we been seeing every single week when it comes to the defense? It's
but DTN, when has he ever trended? And like you're saying, he's trended down.
Trending down to the deep end.
I mean, he's already in the abyss at this point. Give us one more. Come on.
Maybe Kayshon Boutte because he's supposed to make these. Because we know for a fact he's not our wide receiver one because he is more like a wide receiver 3 or 3 at best. Like he was like I think he was like somewhat of a wide receiver 3 in LSU at best. Like he can make plays, but what you alluded to, Kobe, is about he needs to be more consistent. And we saw some of his impressive moments during training camp, and we thought it would translate to the regular season moving forward. But it's like what we all predicted. He was going to be inconsistent. As much as I hate the schedule moving forward because we got the Bills, which I think it's going to be all losses because I don't think we're going to beat the Chargers. I have predictions for what next year's schedule is going to look like, and I think that, and I know who we're going up against next. I know who we're going up against next year. All of AFC North, all of NFC South, the Titans, the Raiders, and then the Giants. I think we can beat
Cook. DTN
I think we can. It's like if we can beat the Raiders if we lose to the Raiders next year or the Giants next year,
it's still too early, DTN. It's still.
But I'll be curious to see. Overall where, because like we had the hardest ranked schedule in the NFL 2 years ago, and then the hardest ranked schedule this year. So I'll be curious to see ultimately how it happens. Or maybe I should say last year was the hardest, and this year it wasn't. But
one more thing. I think that we can all agree that we need more talent, even though the free agency class, it looks like ass. Like I don't know anybody in the free agents.
I will say this, and I'm seeing it pop up a lot in the comment section that they're rattling off right now, guys. I kind of agree with this. What's his name? Ford Nation. What do you think about Robert Saleh as a DC?
I would do it.
I would
take it.
What
he
he did in
rival, he's proven multiple teams.
I don't see him leaving Green Bay now.
Is that where he is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he took a job already.
Yeah. Originally, he was. I think he's as the offensive consultant because Matt LaFleur didn't want Robert Saleh to take over the defense when Jeff Hadley, I think that's what his name is, who was the head coach of Boston College, being the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. But even though if I want Robert Saleh, I think he's a good defensive coordinator. We know he's not a good.
He's a great defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's not a good head coach.
We don't need him as a head coach. We don't need him as a head coach.
Yeah. Also, I watched your video, Kobe, about the projected of the facilities and why the Patriots are not like a good attraction for like certain players is because of how ass the facility looks. No wonder why when I saw the report cards, it's like what why is it like this? This is like, is it because Bill Belichick and Tom Brady in the past has been carrying the Patriots and why become an attraction? It's like, it's not the same like that anymore. I don't know which team nowadays has the best report card. Funny enough,
I'll end it with this, DK. DTN, I mean. DK. I'm thinking about DK, man. Look,
well, I want DK Metcalf.
Look. When Pete Carroll was here and Pete Carroll wanted the players to eat properly, what did Robert Kraft say? Oh, we feed them bologna sandwiches. So, look, man, since 2016, this has been the lowest cash spending team. They're gonna have to spend this offseason. They have no choice. No more guys. And if they somehow push the money to another year, stop paying for tickets. Because they buy all these scoreboards and this light tower and all that other crap. It's getting to the point where this play is just unwatchable.
You know what I will say too is that I do think in recent years they haven't had to, right? Like, you should always want to be the best team. You should always want to have the best facilities. But it was like, we don't need to go out there and spend money elsewhere.
Yeah, when you have the greatest quarterback,
we're winning. Like, it doesn't matter if we have a good weight room or not. You're gonna come here because you want to win. We win the Super Bowl every year, man. I ain't taking time to upgrade the weight room. Like, just come here and win with Tom Brady. You're fine. But ADTM, brother, we appreciate you for showing up and showing out for yet another week. Hope to see you next week. Actually, hope to see you in a couple days with the AFC East Roundtable.
Hopefully, I show up because I have nothing to talk. I have nothing to go up against because Jets, they already got a win, so I have nothing to talk. TD, I don't know if I should talk.
The Jets winning. Hey, listen, the Jets winning is a good thing because guess what? They somehow screw themselves over a little bit more.
All the way down to like.
Wish me luck in the finals, and hopefully by Wednesday I should be back home getting ready.
Study up.
I'm ready to study. I'm studying. Similar to do what the Patriots failed to do.
Let's go, DTN, with the fire. Shout out to DTN. Everybody wishing some luck on those finals, man.
And one thing I will say is he comes in here every week. So all these people that are trolling him in the comments, unless you come in here and go and talk in front of the camera, I don't want to hear your opinion. Because guess what? It takes a lot of guts to come in here every single week and give an opinion on something. So for all the people that are trolling him in the comments, until you can do that yourself, I don't want to hear it.
And man, this is a safe space. This isn't just
Patriots. It's a safe space.
It's a Patriots Global family, baby. So come and join us, man. Come and join us. Be a Patreon member. Join us during our live shows. Come in, share your thoughts, share your reactions. Vent if you want. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to do it either. Become a Patreon member. Link in the description box below. Before we end this one off, though, Rob, want to give another big shout out to the sponsors of this video over at BetUS. Big reminder, guys, that when you sign up right now, less than 60 seconds, you'll lock yourselves into a limited time exclusive offer of a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, followed by 125% sign up bonus on your next 2 deposits, all the way up to $2,000. That is a deal on your first 3 deposits right now when you sign up and use the code that you see on the screen, YouTube150. Now, BetUS will also give you a 200% crypto deposit bonus, 10% back on your net losses 2 times a year, and they're giving you your very own personalized account manager, something that no other sportsbook is doing. They have the best betting variety in the business, not just NFL games, but they got NFL futures, college football, basketball, baseball, hockey, horse racing, fighting, politics, entertainment. They are known for having the best betting variety out there. And you can also bet on live wagers and live games with BetUS, which is one of my favorite things about them. But play smart, play responsible, never bet more than you can afford to lose. But remember that supporting the sponsors is supporting the channel, and we could not be out here doing this full time, giving you the best Patriots related content out there, not just on this platform, but Roundtable Sports, the AFC East Roundtable, all the shows that we do. So make sure to support these sponsors. But Rob, any last thoughts before we wrap up?
I will say in 2 weeks that the Jaguars are playing the Raiders, and I want Mac Jones to do what Mac Jones does best and throw the game away somehow.
So you want the Raiders to win that one?
Yeah. Because it's like, didn't the Jags win today or they lost? I can't remember. Well, regardless, come on, Mac. Come on, Mac. Find a way to.
If we're gonna lose, just keep skyrocketing us up as high as we can at this point.
Look, man, I just want
wins, but if we're not gonna get wins, give us as high as we can get.
It's gonna be pretty. It's not like we're gonna have to try to like not win because yeah. But we appreciate you guys. Seriously, without you guys, this stream wouldn't be what it is.
Yeah, the stream it would literally just be me and Rob like live streaming our phone calls, and that would just be weird. So thank you guys for making it a show, not something weird that me and Rob do once a week. But shout out to Connor too. He's a Jets YouTuber, works for Roundtable Sports too. Says Dollar would be an awesome DC for you guys. If we could somehow get a veteran in that building, I think that makes a lot of sense because right now I think everything is too young and we need a little bit of leadership. And that defense is good, right? Like that defense has a lot of veteran proven pieces. You can get a defense on that side of the football to at least make the Patriots defense elite while the rest of the team is building itself up. I think it would go such a long way.
My biggest fear is that would he come here though, because he kind of like embedded himself in the Packers organization now. So
I sure hope not. Of course, too, an organization that is directly related to the New England Patriots. So forget them. Come on over here. You play the Jets twice a year. Give them the middle finger.
That's there you go.
All you need. That's the selling point. Robert, you come here and you can sack Aaron Rodgers as much as you want twice a year. What do you say? That's it. But hey, guys, we appreciate you for watching. As always, I am Colby Cochran, also known as Patriots Global. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out Rob from House Call. In fact, let me throw up your Instagram. I realize that has not been up this entire time. Where is it? There we go. Make sure you guys follow Rob on Instagram for the best Patriots related and Boston sports related content out there. You already got content out there from today's game, some press game quotes and videos and whatnot. So make sure you guys go ahead and check those out exclusively on Instagram over at Rob's account. But until next time, guys, have content dropping for you later this week. I'll have a video dropping for you tomorrow on should the Patriots go offensive tackle or wide receiver in the draft. So that's something that you guys can look forward to. But as always, appreciate you guys for watching and go Pats.